AVC. This is Hub Tunes. I'm Mike. Welcome back. We're this is take like 5 of this video, but we're gonna get through it this time, I swear. So I'm gonna do a little 80s rewind again. That first video was very popular. You guys sat through a lot of views of that. So we're gonna do it again. This will be just random 80s music I pulled off the shelf. And yeah, we'll just go through it. I got a lot of records, so grab a beer. We'll try and go through this. Now I got everything out of order because this is like the 3rd take. But oh well, there was no order to begin with, I guess. So well, we'll start with this. This is Big Audio Dynamite. The Clash kind of, well, Mick Jones left the Clash and everything kind of fell apart after that. So yeah, great album. This is probably the best. I do like Streetcore by Joe Strummer, but this is probably one of my favorite. It's probably the best solo album by a member of the Clash. Although Streetcore is damn good. I wasn't real big into Depeche Mode until this album came out. This is a beauty. This is Music for the Masses. Probably my favorite Depeche Mode. This is a reissue from a few years ago. See, I'm still getting that damn glare, and that's why it's taken me so many takes to do this video. I'm gonna ignore it and hope it turns out all right. This is, yeah, Music for the Masses, Depeche Mode, one of their best. Never Let Me Down Again, Strangle Love, Behind the Wheel, I Want You Now. Great album, fantastic album. A band that I adored. This is House of Love. This is their only album, I believe. And it's fantastic. It's a really solid album. Well, the lead singer, I don't think there's any original members left. They were actually going to do a tour right before lockdown, their first time together in 18 years. And they were playing a really tiny club here in Chicago called Subterranean. And man, I had tickets for that. They were only like $12, and I was super excited. And of course, we all know what happened. This little band out of the UK, the House Martins. I got a bunch of their albums. This is my favorite one. This is The People Who Grinned Themselves to Death. This is a wonderful Britpop 80s, early 80s album. This is probably 81 or 82. Terrific, terrific, fun band. Yeah. Devo was pretty big in the 80s, mostly because of the album that came right after this. This is a terrific album. This is the one, Race of Doom, The Super Thing, Beautiful World. It's a great album. This is a reissue from a couple years ago. Fantastic album. Devo. Okay, now I'm back into order. It was a little disjointed there for a minute. I know I showed The Cure in my first 80s video. This is another Cure album because The Cure were so big in the 80s, and this is exactly how I like my Cure, is just moody and moody. This is Faith by The Cure. Fantastic album, one of my favorites. This is an original. This is an OG. This has The Funeral Party, Holy Hours, Other Voices, All Cats Are Gray. Just a fantastic album. It's got a cool little label there too. This is I might spin this later. I think I showed Joy Division in the first part of the 80s. I may have even shown this one. No, I probably showed Unknown Pleasures. Although maybe I didn't. Maybe I showed this. I'm not sure. But this is Warsaw. This is a collection. Really cool collection. This actually, when I go to listen to Joy Division, this is usually what I pick up first. Really highly recommended. John Fox left Visage, and what else was he in? He was in a couple other bands. But this is a great album. This is called The Garden. Really terrific stuff. They just released a deluxe edition of this about 2 or 3 years ago, which I had on CD at one point. I don't know why I had it on CD, but yeah, The Garden, John Fox. Band I was into big time in the 80s, and this is Sisters of Mercy. This is the Mo-Fi issue of Floodland. It's probably their best album. Fantastic. I was a goth kid loving this stuff. Absolutely loving it. I wasn't that goth, but I loved this record. Guys probably recognize this cover from my YouTube channel. This is Donald Fagan's The Nightfly. When this came out, we hadn't had any new music from Steely Dan since the 70s, when they pretty much broke up. But Donald Fagan released this terrific, absolutely terrific record. This is just as good as any Steely Dan album in my opinion. I would love to get the Mo-Fi one step of this, so if anyone knows or I can get a reasonably priced one, I'll take it. Okay. This is, well, quick. Suzanne Vega. Wonderful album. This is Solitude Standing. Really good Suzanne Vega album. I mean, you know, maybe I showed this one in the first one too. The Grateful Dead had a hit in the 80s. This is In the Dark. There's not much to really say about this. It's okay. It's got a few decent songs. It's got Brother Esau is on here, I believe. Maybe. West LA Fadeaway is on here. No, Brother Esau's not on here. This is Touch of Grey, Hell in a Bucket, When Push Comes to Shove, Throwing Stones, West LA Fadeaway, probably the best song on here. Classics that they played live. This is the Mo-Fi edition. A band that I still say is my guilty pleasure of the 80s, and that's The Cars. This is Shake It Up. This is the Rhino reissue from a few years ago. Or no, last year? It sounds fantastic. All those Rhino reissues, it's on bright green. It's not translucent. It looks translucent, but it's not. All these Rhino reissues, top notch. Really well done. This is no exception. I love this album. Since You're Gone, Shake It Up, I'm Not the One, Victim of Love, Cruiser, A Dream Away. I love the second side of this. This is a really good album. Obviously it has the big hits, Shake It Up and Since You're Gone. But yeah, my guilty pleasure? I don't know. I like that band. I guess if you like them, they're not a guilty pleasure, right? Next band, I pulled 3 albums because it's one of my favorite bands of the 80s. And they made 3 absolute masterpieces. Well, at least 2 absolute masterpieces. And that is Talk Talk. This is Spirit of Eden, and this is Laughingstock. If you've never heard these 2 albums, you must own them. They're not the pop band that everyone thought they were. These are absolute masterpieces. They're moody, they're jazzy, just absolutely. Words do not describe these 2 albums. And then they also released Color of Spring, which is also a terrific album in the same vein as great artwork too. These three albums, you can't go wrong with any of them. I prefer probably Spirit of Eden. This one, great cover. Absolute masterpieces. Absolute masterpieces. Kind of very jazzy, very avant-garde. Remind me a little of Peter Gabriel, in a way. Solo Peter Gabriel. Very proggy. Great, just terrific albums. And Mark Hollis, we just lost a couple years ago, the lead singer. Very sad. His life really didn't go well for him. So I hear. I don't know. He just became a recluse after he left the band, and he would just be seen walking around in public. Just it looked like he was homeless, but he wasn't. He lived in a beautiful old castle somewhere in England. Really sad ending to what that was a string of three, and their early albums. Their early albums are excellent too. They're a little more poppy and more mainstream. But those three albums, if you see them, just grab them. You can get them for $20. You can even get the older copies for probably even cheaper. They've reissued the whole catalog in the last 3 or 4 years. So there's great sounding copies of it, of all three out there. George Harrison, I love this album. I know some people don't really care for it, but I think it's one of George's best and certainly most emotional albums. It's got Blood from a Clone, Unconscious Rules, Life Itself, all those years ago. I just remember hearing all those years ago when this first came out, when I first heard that song about John Lennon and the tragedy. I cried. I absolutely wept when I first heard that song. George Harrison, Somewhere in England. I love this cover art. Just a great album. I know there's a lot of people who don't care for it, but it's in my top George Harrison albums. While we're on the Beatles, I think I'm very critical of Paul McCartney's solo work. I haven't really done any Beatle videos. I don't know. Do we need any more? I'm certainly not going to do any lists, maybe I will. I don't know. I'm very critical of Paul McCartney's solo work. I adore Wings. I think Wings was terrific. Their Speed of Sound is, but I like what he did with Wings. As far as his solo stuff, in the 80s, this is really the only album from the 80s that Paul made that's worth listening to at this point. Tug of War is just a Wings album, if you ask me. There's a couple of good songs on there. There's some okay stuff. And then everything that followed that, Give My Regards to Broad Street and Pipes of Peace and all those collaborations with everyone who would collaborate with him. I just don't need any of that. But then he bounced back in 97. This is my favorite Paul McCartney solo album. If you consider The Fireman a solo album, that would probably be my favorite. But this is obviously the reissue that just came out. This is terrific. I think this rivals anything he did with Wings. I think it's some of his best songwriting, easily of the 80s, and probably of the 90s too. I love Steve Miller. Steve Miller guests on a couple of songs, and he really adds a nice punch with his guitar. It's great. It's absolutely wonderful. You'll hear me talk about, I love this album. Absolutely love it. I don't want to diss on Paul McCartney in this video, but that'll happen in a different video. I love Paul, but his 80s stuff don't, and even a lot of his 90s, and even some of his 2000 stuff. I'm kind of like, it's all hit or miss for me. Just my opinion. Well, you can write comments, I don't care. This is the only solo album by Mark Hollis from Talk Talk. He reimagined a couple of songs from, he reimagined The Color of Spring. This is a really good album. It's in the same vein as Color of Spring and Spirit of Eden. But again, another one that you can pick up super cheap. Gary Newman, you knew that was coming in one of these videos, because if you watch this channel, you know I love Gary Newman. This is Dance from, well, probably 83 maybe. This is the reissue from a couple years ago on beautiful purple vinyl. This is what I would consider his last great album from his vintage era. It was pretty much downhill from here on. Well, not here on, for the 80s for Gary. This was a really good album, but it kind of ended his golden era. This has the single She's Got Claws, Night Talk, Boys Like Me, Stories. Stories is a great song. It's one of my favorite Gary Newman songs. Stormtrooper and Drag. This is good. I mean, if you like Telecon and you like Pleasure Principle, pick up Dance. It's in the same vein. Just a little more 80s poppy. There's a little, you know, that poppy that bass. It's definitely in there. The Jam. Awesome album. What an awesome album. This is Sound Effects. Just Weller going crazy. This is such a great album. I love all the Jam albums. You can't not go wrong with anyone. This is an OG from, God, I bought this in probably the day it came out. It's still in good shape. Yeah, the Jam, Sound Effects. Really sweet album. I love this album still to this day. When this came out, I was in love with this album. Joe Jackson's Night and Day. This is also probably my original copy that I bought at the record store in early 80s. What a terrific album. This is the one that has Steppin' Out on it, and yeah, Steppin' Out, Chinatown, TV Age, Another World, Breaking Us in Two. Great album. Great album. I think it's recently been reissued. Somebody did a nice job with it. It may have been Analog Productions, actually. Actually, I think it was Analog Productions. I haven't heard it. Might put that on my list, my ever-growing list. This is Steve Mcqueen by Prefab Sprout, one of our British imports. This is probably my favorite Prefab Sprout album. It's definitely my favorite. It's terrific also. Yeah, this is a good album. I haven't listened to this in ages. Yeah, check this out. This is Prefab Sprout, Steve Mcqueen. So I loved getting, when I was a kid in the early 80s, I loved getting my hands on anything live. I was a big live record person. I'm not anymore. Now I kind of just steer away from them because half the time they don't really sound all that great, and a lot of times they have, they're overdubbed, or they they mix different shows together to create one show, which I'm not interested in at all. But this, I loved having these when I was a kid. God, I haven't thought about these. I'm gonna play these actually. These are, I'll show them both. These are the Secret Policeman's Other Ball. This was a Amnesty International concert that they put on. I think they did a couple years in a row. It was Amnesty International. I think Sting and Pete Townsend were kind of the big backers for it. This is the first one, and this one has Pete Townsend does Pinball Wizard, Drowned, and then Pete Townsend and John Williams do Won't Get Fooled Again. Neil Ennis is on here with a song called Spontaneous. I loved having this stuff. This stuff was great. I used to play these all the time. And then the second one, this one I seem to remember as being the better. You can see who's on there. Got Sting, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Bob Geldof, Phil Collins, Donovan, and The Secret Police. And this one has, yeah, this was the one that I remember being, this is The Secret Policeman's other ball, so I believe this is the second. This one is Sting, he does Roxanne and Message in a Bottle. Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton together, they do Cause We've Ended as Lovers, Further On Up the Road, and Crossroads. Bob Geldof does I Don't Like Mondays. Phil Collins does In the Air Tonight and The Roof is Leaking. I love that song. And then Donovan does The Universal Soldier and Catch the Wind, which is a wonderful song. And then they all come out, oh, The Secret Police must be all of them together. And they come out and do I Shall Be Released. So, fun find. You know, this is stuff I've had these forever. I barely listen to them anymore, but I just remember being, as a kid, just listening to these two over and over. Fun stuff. Somebody made a comment last when I did the last video. How you guys doing? You guys hanging in there? We're about halfway done. This won't be as long as the first one. Guess I'm running out of 80s stuff. I just didn't want to repeat stuff, but I probably could have, because not everybody watches every video. But yeah, we're doing good. Okay, somebody made a comment on the last video that I did not put any Smiths in. It was not intentional. It was not, I don't know, unintentional. But this is Strange Ways, Here We Come. This is my favorite Smiths album. I don't know. I could have done, yeah, I could have done many of them. Oh, Jesus, this is writing this. Yeah. Unhappy Birthday. Death at Ones, I Won't Share, I Won't, yeah. Great album. The Smiths. This is my original copy also from 1982 when this came out. 87, sorry. Oh, maybe this isn't my original. No, this is a repress. The Smiths. Let's see here. This guy was all over in the 80s. Charlie Sexton. Great album. I believe this is his debut. Yeah, it's his debut. This is his debut. He was really popular. This was a big album. He's out of Austin, Texas. I actually met him a couple of times. One of my friends was kind of friendly with him. And he's got a great brother. I forget his brother's name. Damn. I do not remember his brother's name. But he's still around. He still does a lot of stuff. He did, a couple of months ago, they had a online Bowie tribute thing that Visconti put together. And Charlie Sexton was kind of the band leader for a lot of it. And he also went on tour with that celebration of Bowie. He's aged quite a bit since this photo, but we all have. Yeah, this is a great album. It's on MCA. Terrific stuff. I was actually in Austin once, and I was eating at a place, and he came into the restaurant and sat down at the table next to us, and he was with Peter Buck and Michael Stipe from REM, and they had country fried chicken and mashed potatoes. We all did. It was like the specialty of the place. I don't know why I told that story. This is a band that I loved. Most of this is 80s. I think this is all 80s. I probably should have looked this up. Shriekback? I love this band. Now that I think about it, this was the one. I like this. This was great. This was Big Night Music. This might be their biggest album. This might be their, this might be their most popular. Big Night Music. And then I like this one. This is Oil and Gold. If this is not 80s, this one might be 90s actually. You know what? Let's get out the glasses. Yeah. We're good. It's 80s. Doesn't matter. It's my fucking channel. I can do what I want. Another band. I know their 80s stuff gets kind of forgotten about, just because their 70s stuff is so iconic, but this is King Crimson Beat. This is the middle album of the 3-album trilogy. The first one was Discipline. That's the one with the red cover, and the other one was Three of a Perfect Pair. That's the one with the yellow cover. This is Beat. It has a blue cover. I don't know what's wrong with me today. The Discipline had Elephant Talk on it, which was a great song. This had Heartbeat and me, Neil, Jack, and Me. Yeah, this is I thought those 3 albums were great, especially the first 2. Discipline and this one were the best of the 3. This is the latest Genesis album you will ever see me post on this channel. I think this is their last decent album. Abba Cab, obviously a huge hit for them. I like it. I think it's overproduced. It's Phil Collins. It's, I don't know. I think it's the beginning of the end of them. I don't think they did anything worthwhile after this. Got it for $5.99 at Rolling Stone. I obviously I like it. I must like it because I have all 4 covers. It's got a cool sound. I was listening to it the other day, getting ready for this video. The title track is really cool. I mean, what a great sound that is that they get on that. And Keep It Dark is the same way, and Me and Sarah Jane. Dodo. Obviously, Man on the Corner was a huge hit. No Reply at All was a huge hit. Yeah, I like this album. And then, this band was pretty big. This album was huge, huh? Yeah, Yaz. Upstairs at Eric's. Couldn't go anywhere and not hear this. I had this on cassette. I used to just play it all the time, everywhere. Recently saw Alison Moyet, the lead singer. Saw her in concert a couple years ago, and she was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I don't know. Most tall heads don't like this album. This is Crest of a Knave. I thought, at the time, I thought it was a great album. This was a kind of a comeback album for them. It won Grammys. I think it won Grammy. This was that. If I recall, this might have, the year this came out was the first year that the Grammys had hard rock as a category, and they won for Best Hard Rock Album. I like the cover too. I think the cover's really groovy. I loved this album when it came out, and I put it on the other day, and honestly, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up like I thought it would. It's got some okay songs on it. Whatever. This band, I bought everything. I pulled all their albums because I bought everything that this band released. This is a band called Japan. This is my original copy. As you can tell, it's pretty worn out. The vinyl still sounds good. This is Gentlemen Prefer Polaroids. David Sylvian, just a genius, an absolute genius. So this is Gentlemen Gentlemen Take Polaroids. I'm really out of it today. I should probably not be making videos. This is Tin Drum, their next album. It's got a free poster with it. Free poster. I don't think I still have the poster. No, I definitely don't have the poster. That's Tin Drum. I like this. This is my favorite. Tin Drum is definitely my favorite Japan album. And then Obscure Alternatives. It's okay. It's not their best. And then Oil on Canvas, which I love this cover. Really cool artwork. And this is okay too. This has some good stuff. I like this. And then this is kind of the end. And this is Assemblance Assemblage. So Japan, cool band. I wish they had made some more music, but then you kind of look back on it and you think, well, they did what they did and they were fine. And David Sylvian's solo stuff just goes off in a totally different direction, very ethereal. I like some of it. I'm not sold on all of it. He does have a couple albums that I really, really like. They're gorgeous albums. But overall, I prefer Japan. This is a band. No one will know this. Anyone know this? This is Box of Frogs. A 13-year-old Mike was so excited for this album to come out because this is it was at the time the remaining members of the Yardbirds, minus anyone who was Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, or Jimmy Page. And it's a really, really good album. I still play this. I love this album. It is, I'll give the people credit since they went and did this, is John Fiddler, Jim McCartney, Chris Dreja, and Paul Samuel Smith. I believe Chris has passed away. I'm not sure. But this is Box of Frogs. They made one other album that was not nearly as good as this. I don't even think I have it. I might have it, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, on Epic. You can buy this for $1.50, probably. But yeah, if you see it, grab it. It's totally worth it. It's a great album. The gorgeous painting on this cover. This is New Order. I was a big New Order fan. This is Power, Corruption, and Lies. This has Age of Consent. This is my favorite New Order song and favorite New Order album. Fantastic album. This is my original copy from when I was a kid. It is great. It's in pretty good shape too. It's got a little chewed up top, but other than that, it sounds great. Yep, my favorite New Order album. Power, Corruption, and Lies. Probably my favorite, Pet Shop Boys. Maybe another guilty pleasure for me. I love the Pet Shop Boys. This is the one that had what have I done to deserve this? This has Rent. It's a Sin. This is a huge album for them. Absolutely huge. I like their album Behavior. I don't have that on vinyl. I used to have it on CD. You can buy all these. All their albums have been reissued with outtakes and remixes and stuff. All of them are like 2 or 3 records now. So you get the original, and then you get like 2 or 3 of mixes and reissue or remixes and stuff. No demos though. I don't think any of them have demos. I think they're all just like remixes of the album, which is kind of cool. Some of them are really neat. I bashed the Rolling Stones in the last video. I remember that because I showed Dirty Work. I've bashed it several times on my channel. But the Rolling Stones bounced back. Bill Wyman left the band, and they bounced back, I think, really strong with Steel Wheels. This is a really good album. I was on a little bit of a Stones kick the other day in the car, and I played this, and it's got some good stuff. It's got Mixed Emotions and Sad, 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 Terrifying, Hearts for Sale. Yeah, no, this, I thought it was a decent bounce back, but to bounce back from Dirty Work is really not much of a, I don't know. Don't get me going on Dirty Work again. And this is going to be the last record. And I think this is probably the last of his great records. Obviously, Let's Dance was a huge hit, but not really my favorite. And Outside is a great record, and obviously Black Star is a masterpiece. So I misspoke. But this is the last of his golden era. This is David Bowie, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. If you guys don't know it, it's got Scary Monsters, it's got Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, Teenage Wildlife is on here, It's No Game, Kingdom Come, one of my favorite Bowie albums. Great artwork, absolutely gorgeous artwork. Yeah, oh, I'm sad. Yeah, that's it. We did it. 37 minutes. That's a whole lot quicker than the last 80s video went. So that's about it. The 80s were a mixed bag for a lot of people. I think a lot of good music came out of the 80s. I think a lot of shitty music came out of the 80s. I don't know if there's going to be a part 3. I mean, if you think I could do a part 3, maybe name some bands. Because I completely forgot I didn't put the Smiths in the first video. And somebody made a comment and said, "What, you don't like the Smiths?" And I was like, shit, I love the Smiths. I just didn't grab them. That's all it really came down to. So I'm sure there's some more 80s back there. We could probably do one more video. So questions, comments, snide remarks in the comment section. Everyone stay safe. Remember, the contest is ending next week on Wednesday. You guys have been amazing. I think we're up to like 32 entries, which is way beyond what I thought we were going to do. I figured we'd get 10 at the most. But I'll do a video on that. Next Wednesday I'll do the drawing. You get a $50 gift card. So contest is still open. I actually had someone put in an entry this morning. So you guys, if you're out there watching and you want to jump on, get a $50 gift card, do it. Guys, stay safe. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.